and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca and it is time to do some more of Mama and Baby Fox. I am working on this one colour by colour. It is my current WIP and I think I'm going to start with H today. I'm pretty sure I've got a few up the top that are sort of floating about. I've gone back to basics today in relation to the fact that I am on our pink tray. This is actually an old 4Kids pink tray. It's one of the very first. So let's zoom you in and we will scoot my easel about as we go. But I hope everybody is having, or has had, should I say, an amazing week with a great week yet to come. And of course, I have pulled out a pen and the glue dot has a little bit to be desired. Ooh, looking at that. Ooh, can you see it? It is dirty all over. I think it might be time for a completely fresh new glue dot. I've actually been doing this on quite a few pens recently. Been cycling through different pens, but I like to take the glue dot off fully and sort of roll it around in my fingers a little bit. Get it? Oh, it's not going a little bit sausagey. Come on. A little bit sausagey, not too much. Maybe a bit like a pasty, like we've been discussing. Let's see if that's going to pick up enough or if it needs a top up dot. No, I think we're good. We seem to be working. So let's pop that back. Sometimes they need one glue dot. Sometimes they need two. So we'll see if it needs a second one later. But yes, I hope everybody has had an amazing week. I'm actually filming this before the massive big sale that we're having, but I do want to take the time to thank you all for any and all of your orders during this launch and big sale. We really need to clear space. We've only ordered a certain amount of Advent things so far. There tends to be a few bits we order earlier, partly depending on where they come from, partly depending on whether there's any offers that help us keep our prices low, because that's always our aim. And yeah, we've had a few things arrive, and of course it's always the bulky things that are worth arriving sooner. So yeah, we are very quickly filling up shelf space. So any space that becomes free, all the better. And yeah, it'll keep me busy during the summer months, which is good because I actually quite like working on Advent things through the spring, summer months, because I can get stuck into it and work into the evening. And I realised as well on Thursday when I was letting you guys know my sort of daily routine that I've been following, that it may seem as though it starts quite late, but rest assured I spend many an evening carrying on with something, especially if it's getting near completion or I'm really enjoying it and getting stuck into it, the likes of the design and things. I will carry on into the evening, so time definitely evens out. Having said that, a little bit of a slower start this morning. Took me a bit to get going, a bit longer to get fully going. This morning I actually got out of bed a little bit later, which I found does not work as well for me, but it's okay. The only filming I need to do within my allotted time today is this Whip and Waffle. That's all I've sort of penciled in for today's YouTube time. So we're going to see how many comments I can get through. Of course, I have more comments because Thursday's was all black and was completed a lot quicker than expected. So I have more comments to be able to go through, and I wanted to be able to dedicate as much time as was needed. And we'll see how far we get on this. I have penciled in kitting up my next project because I have a feeling that this is soon going to very much hit that point where all of a sudden it's nearly done. Whether it gets completed or not today, who knows? Who knows which one it will hit. So I have penciled in to film kitting up my next painting. And also, of course, I have my logbook video as well. But I wanted to make sure that I got this done first, just in case, by any weird twist of fate, this ends up being a completion. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? Okay, Liv Dotting Den. So she says, she loves receiving parcels. She says she has to be careful now. She says as she can go a bit mad on a dotting site. Yes, that is definitely the truth. What I didn't realise, one of the things I actually did today, which has sort of delayed me starting filming and stuff, is Aura Lower actually provided, they used to, because sometimes I have affiliate links in my videos, which I do state are affiliate links, where it doesn't cost you anymore. Quite often my discount code saves you money, but sometimes I do get just a little bit back from each order that is placed. And I don't know that I've ever had any payment from Aura Lower. I'm not sure, I'd have to check. But recently they've sort of changed the way they work things or something. I need to get my head around it fully, but I've not had a chance to read the emails properly. But anyway, for any sort of commission, as you could call it, say it's a small amount on each order, but they sent me a code to spend on their website rather than sending a payment. So I may have actually gone a little bit happy on a dotting site myself. Got a couple of bits that were a little bit different. I think 3 paintings to add to my stash, maybe different sizes. I think they are. But I'll be sure to show you those when they arrive and show you the other bits that I've got. One of them I think Megan is going to absolutely adore, or at least I hope so, because I got it in 2 different variants. But anyway, we shall see. She also says, she was just browsing the Home Bargains website and she spotted, she said, some lovely fabric squares. She says she's not sure if I've spotted them or not. Yes, I did spot those in store. They're quite small, and at the moment with my quilting, while I do have quite a few what they call sort of fac waters, I have quite a few from when I first started, I find I actually really enjoy the process of going to my local quilt shop and picking out fabrics for a particular project or pattern. They're so incredibly helpful over there. It's about 35-40 minutes away, but they have such an abundance of options for fabric, and I really enjoy sort of picking a colour scheme and going with it. I'm sure my fac waters will come into use at some point, but I am trying to work through fabric that I've picked up for projects that I know I want to do. So I've already got a reason behind the fabric being purchased. Because while I'm not against having a stash, as you know, with my diamond painting, I'm not against having a stash. However, I don't like to end up with too much of a stash. I do find with diamond painting, as well as with fabric, if I have too much of a stash, sometimes it can make me feel a bit overwhelmed. It's a bit like a to-do list, even though it's not. It can sometimes feel a bit like a to-do list. Not all the time, but sometimes it can. So I'm trying not to fall into that trap with fabric. So yeah, so I have seen them. I also don't know the sort of quality of whether they will run or anything like that. So yeah, if I really want them, I'm sure if they're really amazing patterns, not that the ones I saw in store were, then I would probably pick them up. But I'm already guilty of picking up a couple of fat quarter bundles from Hobbycraft the other week because Catherine fell in love with the material and would like a second quilt. I've told her she'll be waiting a while because I have a couple of other projects I want to do first. Doroby Punked, she says, hi Rebecca and Zesties. She says their weather is finally above 0 degrees Celsius again. Woohoo! Ours is pretty much the same. There are definitely moments when it's like, ooh, it's springy, and then you open the door and you realise it's cold along with it. Evenings are still pretty chilly. Definitely goes cold, but we've had quite a few days, a couple of days this week, where we've not had the heating on until it's hit about 4 o'clock. That's the heating in the conservatory. The house, again, while it sort of comes on in the morning and then it tends to go off because it reaches temperature. It tends to go off for a while, but in the conservatory we switch the heating on manually, and I found that we've not needed it throughout the day up until, say, about 4 o'clock, 4:30, and it gets really, really nippy. But yeah, we're definitely heading in the right direction for spring, which is exactly what we need. Right, let me just get rid of these 2 diamonds. Oh, I've just lost my plastic cover off the painting. Do you know what? I might take it off for a while. I do know which side is which because I have my sticker on the front. But while it's fell off, let's not have that crinkle. And let's just get that out of the way. But yeah, she says she's looking forward to spring and nicer weather. Here. She says her nasty cold came back. Oh no. And she is struggling with coughing. She says she's hoping that it'll be better again soon. She says my Heaven and Earth design painting is looking gorgeous. She says she likes the shading and she's sure it'll look better than when I tried first with the painting. Yes, I think having consistent diamond drill colours for the 3865 and the 5200 is the main one. I possibly could have got away with just getting those and using the other drill colours that I had, but those two, I think because they're so prominent across the painting, had to be consistent, and frankly they just weren't in my spares. So yeah, that's the only thing. If you do have a painting that has less colours and therefore has a lot of a certain colour, you may find that you're better picking up one particular colour, even if you then use your spares for the smaller amounts. All Things Crafty by Kaz, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she hopes all is well and that I am well rested. I don't know about well rested, but I'm definitely well. But I do prefer being sort of productive and busy anyway. More so, I find it takes me so much more to get going if I have a day or two of doing nothing. Actually pottering or puttering, depending on what you want to call it. Pottering about is my best kind of relaxing. It keeps me going, I get little bits done, but there's no pressure, no to-do list. I just get to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. She says she's not sure if she said this already. She says, but her mum is home from the hospital. I'm pretty sure you have, but it's still awesome news and definitely worth a repeat. She says at long last, she says she came home last Wednesday, which is great. As much as, you know, whether it be going on holiday, going away on holiday, or whether it be something more serious like being in the hospital, there is just something amazing about coming home, is there not? I'm not surprised that the saying goes, home is where the heart is, because home is just, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I love being at home. Leslie, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she's just wondering how she goes about getting a hand on one of the same thing that you're doing. She says because she would love to try one, but she doesn't know how to. She says anyway, she says please keep safe, and we love your YouTube channel anyway. Oh, thank you. So this question was asked on a Heaven and Earth design. So I do have some Heaven and Earth design videos on the process of doing a Heaven and Earth design, getting the chart, getting the canvas, etc. They are older videos, but all the information is still relevant. So the easiest way for you to find that is to go to my website, addmorezest.com, and under resources I have a video section, and in there you will find a Heaven and Earth design videos section, and that will give you the key videos on getting started. But you will need a cross stitch chart. A lot of people use Heaven and Earth design because they only use full stitches for everything. They're always full stitches, which is what you need, because of course we're not into cutting diamonds in half. We also don't do backstitch on diamond painting like they do on cross stitch, so it needs to be a full stitch design, which all Heaven and Earth designs are, unless they've changed it, but as far as I'm aware they still all are full stitches. And then you'll need to purchase your drills or get them out your spares, and a blank canvas to do it on. But those videos are your best source to get you started, and I explain the process of me starting, especially my big Heaven and Earth design, the one that took me 4 years to complete. That is all detailed on there too. So yeah. Kim, she says she was knocking on the iPad screen. She said to let me know that I added one black too many on my last Heaven and Earth design section. She says she knew that I'd catch it soon enough. She says thankfully it was an easy fix. I can always rely on Kim. She keeps an eye on my diamond painting. I just need this whole, like, being able to hear her in my ear when I'm doing stuff would make life a lot easier for me than figuring it all out on my own, that's for sure. I've just spotted a post in the group as well where somebody asked him to check their work. Made me chuckle this morning. Well and truly made me chuckle. I thought it was fantastic. I absolutely love it. She also says, you are back to your preferred gold and white striped tray today. She says, we all tend to gravitate towards certain trays, don't we? Yes, and I had for so long, I always gravitated towards the pink tray, this pink tray. It always seemed to be sort of my firm favourite that I would go to. I think primarily because it's not very often I have the same colour in a diamond, so they're easy to see. But yeah, recently the gold and white striped tray has also been my favourite. I think again because I can see the diamonds quite clearly on it. I love it more than I ever thought that I necessarily would. Like, I didn't expect it to become a bit of a firm favourite. I've currently actually popped it with Floral Surprise, which is a chart to art. I've currently pulled that tray out to use with that because of course it's a mystery one, so I do that one off camera. And I thought I'd get to have my tray fix without subjecting you lot to the same tray all the time, because I just gravitate towards it. I should set up some sort of system, but I like to go with what I'm in the mood for and what I feel looks nice with a painting, rather than being restricted to, you know, using a particular colour because it's the next on my list. But that would probably be the best way for me to cycle through trays, is to just start from the top of my tray storage and work my way down. But yeah, then I'd end up forgetting which one I'd use last probably, because I have so many colours to choose from. Right, I'm just trying to check I've got those. I have still got some here. Oh, I think I did number 8 as well. And I've just spotted one that was missed. I'll have to get that one in a bit. I'm now getting to the point where I am very close to being able to have the whole part of the painting I need to work on my easel. Because I haven't had to move it then for that number 5. So I think I'm going to switch up how I do this, because this bottom section, which you probably can't all see because it does need moving up, is the letter G and the 3 are sort of the prominent bottom part of this. So I think I might go for the goal, rather than trying to get all the ones on the ears so that I can move that up, because there's quite a few in there. I think I might go for the letter G. There is actually a lot of the letter G as well, and the 3. I think they will give me a better estimation as to how quick I can, whether I can actually finish this today or not. So we'll start from the top, but then we'll move down and try and get it so that I can get the whole painting on the easel and just move the easel about. We'll see how long it takes me to get all these letter G's in, because there's a lot of them. There is a lot of them. That's why I've sort of overfilled my tray and shaken all the others to the bottom. And then once I've gone through this first lot, I will reshake my tray and tip them over. Inga, she says, hi Rebecca. She says, travelling. She says, sure wipes one out. Yes, that's for sure. It wipes you out more than you think. And I think that's what happens when I say I prefer to have sort of a pottering day. I think with travel, you're sat down so much and you're doing nothing in effect for so much, especially if you're, I mean, if you're the one driving, you get tired for a different reason. But like flying and stuff, you do get wiped out considering you sat down for so long. And I think it's because I'm not doing something. She says what she's found helpful for packing and unpacking, she says, is different, is the travel set of different size pouches. So that's like somebody mentioned, I think, that I read out on Thursday's video, those travel pouches, which maybe I should get some of those. I have seen them around and I have seen a few people use them. I just always think to myself, I don't travel enough to get some. But hey, even if it makes my life easier for one set of travel, maybe I should give it a go. Packing cubes. That's what I recognise the name of them as being. She says she sorts her stuff into them by putting all the dirty laundry together during her hotel stays. She says sorting items as she goes. She says when she gets home, she brings the whole pouch to the washing basket. She says before she got them, she said she would take days unpacking, but now it's usually done the same day or the next day, she says, with little hassle. And I do get that. I mean, I tend to sort quite often, of course, it's me and hubby that go away for a weekend, and quite often, rather than, sometimes we take one big case, but if it's only a couple of days, we tend to take 2 small cases, so 1 each. So we sort of pack 1 each with the stuff, but then coming home, one tends to be washing and the other one will then be any potential clean clothes or, you know, the other stuff. Chargers and tablets and, you know, all that sort of wash stuff, all that sort of jazz. And we'll split it sort of that way coming home. And that does work really well. Spotted another one I've missed, the letter D. Maybe I'll do a clean up later. So yeah, we're actually doing that works well. However, I do get that packing cubes would be a lot better because frankly, we don't have a lot of space to tuck next to the washing machine. I can tuck a washing basket there, like one of our linen baskets, more so than the actual washing basket I put the wet washing in. I can put one of those next to it because next to my washing machine is like a cupboard that's only like 300 mil, 30 centimetres, so this wide door, if that helps those who use different measurements. So a sort of a 30 centimetre door, and then it's my fridge. So I can tuck, you know, a washing basket there, fine, for loading up the washing machine. But if I put anything bigger there, like a case, it often gets in the way of the washing machine door. And if we have to move it to get in the freezer, it's even more hassle than moving a washing basket. So I can see those packing cubes really helping because I could put those on the kitchen side. It's also a better visual reminder that I have washing to do because it's in my eye line. Anything in my eye line is always likely to get done more. So yeah, maybe I need to treat myself to some of those for when it comes to packing when we go away. With the idea that they are perfect for dealing with washing when we get home. Plus, then I can pull all of the cubes out of the case and get the case out the way, which, let's be real, is the pain in the backside thing. And what tends to hang about a lot more. And if a packing cube that is full of chargers and stuff, for example, or travel wash stuff, hangs about for a little bit longer, it's not having as much of an impact as the full case would. Plus, it's easier to transport from room to room. So if I've got one that's full of wash stuff, it's going to be so much easier to take up to the bathroom than trying to take everything up separately, or doing what I usually do and dump it on the windowsill in the hall and take it up bit by bit. So yeah, I might have to treat myself to some of those. Judy also says, she is, sorry, not also, she's got the same colour thumbnail as Inga, but she's actually a different person. But she says she's a little way through Space for Reflection. She says then she'll be working on the 1830 by 40s after she finishes the current one. I love having a plan for what's next. I think that's why I've put kitting up my next painting on my list to film. Partly while Catherine's here, but also partly so it will be ready. I won't start working on it until I finish this one, whether that be today or whether it actually end up being next week. I won't start it, but I'll know what it is and I can look forward to starting it whenever that may be. And it means I need to film more this week to make sure that I have plenty of time for packing orders next week. So get a little bit ahead while I've got Catherine at home. Right, I've got all that top section. Ooh. So let's move this up and we can do the bulk amount in this bottom section. This will really start to show some progress on this painting, which is good. I feel like we are well and truly moving. And once I've done this, I can do the number 3 then and work my way up, and hopefully then it can all stay on the easel. If not, I'll start with some of these others. Carrie, she says, hi Rebecca. She says, thank you for another great Whip and Waffle. She says, a little bit of goodish news. We will take goodish, Carrie. Goodish is good on the grand scale of things. But she says, hubby's seizures are getting a little better, which is fantastic news. She said he's still having them. She says, so there is still 3 to 7 daily. She says, but they are getting shorter. We'll take it. Keep going, hubby. You're doing amazing. But she says there's still not much they can do when they happen. Just let them run their course. She says, but he has started treatment this week. So fingers crossed, she says they can get them under control soon. Fingers will be crossed over here as soon as I can cross them again. But yes, it's a hard time. I completely get that. So it is awesome news that things are getting better, because that is exactly what you want, is things to be on the up. She says she's just sent in their application for mortgage assistance. She says if they're approved, she says it could freeze their mortgage for 3 months, just to help them stay on top of other bills while hubby is out of work. She says since they don't know for sure when he'll be able to go back. She says after 3 months, she says then for the following 6 months, they pay more to catch back up. from the 3 months previous. She says, if that makes sense. It does. It does make perfect sense. She says, so fingers crossed they're approved, and they can tick that off their stress list. And yes, that will help hubby as well, because I'm sure, you know, even if he's trying not for that to be in the forefront of his mind, sometimes it's the stuff that's hidden that you've got to watch out for, and it's probably causing him more stress than, frankly, he needs at the moment. He needs none. She says, P.S. your Heaven Earth design is looking beautiful. Oh, thank you. It is definitely looking good so far. Liv, she says she loves seeing this canvas coming to life. So that is this one, Mama and Baby Fox. She says she kitted up another painting last night. She says which came up on her decision wheel. I love the decision wheel. It is highly underrated, that decision wheel. It is absolute gold for me. I absolutely love it. And the benefit is, even if I argue with it, it doesn't argue back. So the argument never lasts long. She says she's still got WIPs, she says, but she did want a brand new canvas to work on downstairs while watching TV. Makes me chuckle because it's amazing how we justify, should we say, with perfectly valid reasons, and I'm not mocking any reason at all, but perfectly valid reasons to have another WIP. You know, I want to talk. I have quite a few WIPs on the go, especially at the moment, but the justification for them is perfectly reasonable to me, and therefore it doesn't stress me out as to why I have so many WIPs. So I have this one, Exhibit A. I have 2 paint gem sets. One which is more of a long-term / travel set, which is the justification. It's a travel set, but I am still working on it when I finish whatever my current set is. So it's more of a long-term one. I then, of course, have my Heaven and Earth design, which is perfectly justified. It is done on a Thursday. I do another section before I put it away for the week. That is sort of a once a week. So it doesn't stress me out any other time because I know it's for Thursday Whip and Waffles. And then I currently have Floral Surprise on the go. Because I've designated this one to be Sunday Whip and Waffles. That was my justification for it. So whatever my decision wheel picks for my next whip is probably going to compete a little bit more with Floral Surprise. I am probably going to feel as though I have one too many when I try to deal with working with both of them at the same time. And that's just because I know myself. I will feel as though I have 2 different paintings I can work on in an evening, and I will want progress on one before Sunday Whip and Waffles, but I also don't want Floral Surprise to get forgotten in the background. So I'll have to figure out what works for me, whether it be if I have a lot of time to diamond paint in the week, I get a bit more done on Floral Surprise. But I start on whatever my next kit up will be, which the decision wheel will decide for me. Who knows? It might still, the rate it's going this year, it might still pick the oldest in my stash, and I might be doing a tiny one again. Who knows? Who knows? But slowly but surely, I will get through my stash. One painting at a time. Lady Dax, she says it was great to see a picture, she says, of Will having a go at diamond painting in the group. She says, will he now be looking through your stash? No, he won't be looking through my stash. He did enjoy it. He did admit to enjoying it. But Megan snapped a picture while we were away in the lakes. Will had a go. We had a few different sort of small ones about that some of the kids had done. And there was one child who absolutely loved it. I've since been sent a picture of his finished masterpiece. But the other kids were happy to sort of dip in, dip out. They were happy for somebody else to do some of it. So Megan was doing some, and Will happened to sit down at the table and have a go at one point as well. He enjoyed it. He did enjoy the process, but not enough to sort of dedicate diamond painting time to it. I think, you know, if we were in the same sort of setting and there was diamond paintings out for people to do, then again he would give it another go and know that he'd enjoy it. But it's not something that you know, he's eager to do separately, if that makes sense. She says yes, she says she loves the 310 outlines too. She says she already has Fairy House on the wall. She says, so Mermaid House will join it once it's completed. She says the only painting that she wants to get to this year so far, she says, is Christmas House. But she says she bets there'll be more that tempt her. Yes, more than likely there will be more. That's for sure. That reminds me, actually, talking about the fact that I will probably be kitting one up soon. Whether it will become an urgent because this one's finished, time will tell. I could get to the point where comments are done and we leave it for next week. I do want to, if it does pick the oldest in my stash, my diamond paintings are primarily in the order that I got them. But the 2020 paintings and 2021 paintings are a couple of them are a little bit out of sync because I only started documenting everything in my logbook in halfway through 2021. So I do want to go through and make sure that those beginning few paintings are in order. So if or when it does decision wheel to pick to do the oldest in my stash, I can figure out which is the oldest a lot quicker. So I might try and do that. Might try and put that on my... Oh, I'm doing my logbook video this week. I'll make sure I do it then. Put it on my to-do list. Liv's Dottingden, she says, hey Zesties and Rebecca. She says she does love watching my videos. She says, following on from the comment, she says you read out, Rebecca, she says, from her about Anastasia's disasters. She says when she was moving in, she got her dad to sort everything like joinery. She says, as he is a joiner by trade. Always handy to know a joiner and an electrician. She says he was an ex-project manager, she says, for Pets at Home too. She says anyhow, she says she needed some bits and bobs sorting with her shower as it was going super hot constantly. She says their local plumber, she says, managed to sort it out for her. She says, and now she can have some lovely showers without scolding herself. Always good. She says she also got a local joiner in to pop some flooring down that she wanted to put down after the damp on the walls were sorted. She says they also did some painting and handrails were put up as there was none originally. and she was frightened of falling. She says she's very grateful, she says, for the help that she does receive. She pays in breakfasts for her dad in the cafe at the end of her street. She says, or sweets in the local sweet shop. Love it. Always got to be good if you pay in candy or sweets. Always a good shot. I just love knowing, we have a plumber. He's actually not sort of a family friend or anything. He came recommended through family, but he is now our plumber. We trust him. Any work that he's done has been top notch. So yeah, I love having a plumber that we can trust, and I love the fact that we have an electrician that we can trust as well. He is a family friend, and we do pay him now his going rate. However, a couple of years ago, when the kids were younger and we were a lot less well endowed with pennies, he did do quite a bit of mates rates. So yeah, but it's just good knowing that the plumbing and the electrics are all good. We actually have a joiner coming to put in the cupboards in our pantry next weekend. Because yeah, we just haven't had the time at all to get it done, and I am sick to the back teeth of my pantry stuff being in the hallway. So I'll be so glad when that gets done, but we don't have a joiner as a sort of go-to all the time, unfortunately. So you're very lucky to have your dad to grab when needed. She also says she might give it a go, completing a painting in the same way that I'm doing. So that's for Mama and Baby Fox. She says by completing the white, she says, and then filling in all the colours. She says she usually sections off with cover paper. And yeah, any other painting, I often do the same. I mean, of course, I've done this twice now this year, just because of the paintings that have been picked. But it is a really nice way to do a painting when it suits the painting. It's a great way of doing it. If this didn't have the full white background, the thought of uncovering the whole thing and doing it by colour would be too daunting for me. I know it works for others, and I know other people like to work that way, but that is just too much for me. Anything bigger than this as well, so think Splatterworks. They've got a lot of a white background, but those paintings are too big for me to feel comfortable doing it this way. But 30 by 40s are great for it. So I do really enjoy doing it when the situation arises with a 30 by 40, because it's different. It's just a different way of doing things. It's like why I enjoy that Thursday's Whip and Waffle is a chart onto a blank canvas, and this one is straight diamond painting. It's just a really nice way to vary things up. Oh, I had like about 3 diamonds that I needed to get straightened up, and then I bashed my tray and ended up with a load. Oh well, let's get these single ones. Melissa, she says, hello, Rebecca and Zesties. She says, in regards to the Zesty that dropped drills in the carpet, which yes, is horrific when that happens. It's like sometimes it's just not the day for a whoopsie daisy. And just to note, today is not the day for a whoopsie daisy for me either. So behave yourself, drills. I am not in the right frame of mind for dropping a load of drills today. I am just going to move my painting down though. Okay, so that's all. Oh, it is all on the easel now. That's actually touching the wood, which is good. And my A goes down to here. I might struggle a little bit on camera angle, but not a huge amount if it comes to that. And I'm actually going to start from the top and work down now. Find the middle for my number 3s. Are we in shot? Maybe not. But she says she does this sometimes too, so drop in all the drills. She says she's found the best way to get them up is to slip an organza bag over the vacuum hose and then suck them all up. She says this way any dust gets sucked through the bag, so that gets out of the way and just goes straight through. Any other chunks of floor debris, so if you get anything bigger than dust, they can just be picked out and get rid of those that way. She says dump them in your tray. Sorry, she says dump them in your tray and blow gently. She says, and then you can use your multiplacer to pick them out the tray. She says she doesn't typically have to go through much hassle doing it this way. She says, and it is certainly faster than doing it by hand. She says any type of manual removal will only push drills deeper into the rug. She says she hopes that helps. There you go. If you have a day like that, there is your tip and trick for today. I know somebody as well, I think it was Jackie, also had an accident with her drills, tipping her squares into her rounds or vice versa. And if they're drills that you're going to be using in a painting, the ideal way to do that is as and when you're diamond painting. So just tip them both into the tray and use the one that you need. If it's done once going into your spares, then you may need to make a decision of how much you love those diamonds and need them. I would definitely ask myself that question. How much do I need this colour? Before I made the decision as to whether I actually wanted to sort them. And if I did, I would do them a little bit at a time. I think it would just be something that I say, okay, 15 minutes a day, 10 minutes even, sometimes even only 5. 5 minutes a day, I will sort these and then I will put it aside for another day. Because the thought of spending even an hour splitting them up, quite frankly, is frightening. Aaliyah, she says, update. She says the meal plan, she says, went out of the window. She says she got confused. Oh, bless you. She says community mental health, she says, have finally contacted her. And she meets someone on the 27th of February, which is amazing news. She says she had a counselling session earlier this week. And together they're going to peep into the box labelled scary stuff. Sometimes, say Dana K. White, she just says you need to look. You will then, you know, even anything that's scary, trying to declutter, things that are memories and things like that, you just need to look first and know what's there, even if you then do nothing with it for a week. By looking, you'll at least know what you're dealing with and your brain will start processing to a certain extent. And then there will become a point when you're ready to deal with it more. So peeking, looking is always hard, but the best first step. She says she's just going to open the lid 1 centimetre and seeing how it goes. Which, as I say, is the way to do it. Just a little bit. Anything is a lot easier if it's just a little bit. A little bit at a time and chance to process. There is something to be said for slow and steady, that's for sure. She says she's starting very slowly and gently. She says probably in a few weeks' time. Yeah, so probably in a few weeks' time they'll look again. That's perfect. She says she's now sat post food shop. She says watching this and doing 3 weeks of her medication boxes again. She says yes, she does need to remember to take it gently with routine changes. She says she is very likely autistic and ADHD. She says so this becomes both harder and more important. She says also reminding herself that she has a physical disability and not to overdo too much. She says that is easier said than done. And that is for sure. It is definitely easier said than done. Right. I've just had a look at how many comments I have, and I have plenty. So I am just going to fill in these 2 that got missed because they're jumping out at me just a little bit more. Okay. And then I think let's move on to this A. I think maybe I'm going to let the bottom dictate so that I can start ignoring the bottom a little bit more. So let's go for A because there's actually quite a lot of that. And let's get this awkward positioning of the easel. There we go. So that we can see where I'm going and we can check I'm not missing any more as we go along. Cat Lady, she says, hi Rebecca. She says, did you hear that the J.D. Robb in-depth book, she says, is the penultimate in the series? She says, this is book 60 of 61. I haven't heard that it's the penultimate. Is that confirmed that it's penultimate, or is that just from seeing it's 60 of 61? The only reason I ask is it always says like 60 of 61 like after one's just released, so there's always like one difference, because the next one is often, so September's is available to pre-order now. In a few months it normally then changes. I'm not sure of the exact like timing of when it changes, whether it's in a couple of months or whether it's not till September. But they do then announce the one after that, and then it would go to being 60 of 62, if that makes sense. But yeah, I've not heard that it's the actual penultimate, but that could be why the numbers are showing that way, because she doesn't know how many she's going to write. So they only ever put like 60 of 61 for the ones that they know they've got, and then it will go to 60 of 62 when the next one is sort of announced, or at least the name of it is announced. She says her quilting space, she says, will have to share her craft room. She says they're exchanging next week on the house. Woohoo! Amazing. She says, and they'll complete on the 4th of March. She says, at last. Fantastic. Not long to go at all. I need to see pictures and updates on this craft room. Just an FYI. I need to see the empty space. And I need to see bits as it all starts to get completed, because I am very excited for this craft room and I can't wait to see how you're going to style it and sort it and potentially split your crafts according to maybe what they are, have different zones maybe, I'm not sure, because quilting quite often needs like 3 zones in itself. I set up 3 zones last weekend. I had my cutting station in here on my drafting table. So I set out my big cutting mat. I moved anything diamond painting I was working on onto this filming desk. And I had that as my cutting station with my mat on that fit perfect. Then I had a little iron station on top of the cupboard that holds all my quilting supplies. And then of course I had the dining table for sewing. So yeah, diamond painting doesn't need as many zones as quilting. But yeah, it'd be exciting to see how your craft room comes together. Natalia, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she can't wait for Advent. We've got some nice weather to come in between until it's Advent time. But no, I get excited for Advent too. I feel like I shouldn't be wishing the year away, but it does get very exciting for me. Especially when I'm in the beginning planning stages. I get exciting over things. Sorry, it took that long. My battery went. Yes, especially as I'm in the planning stages for things, I get very excited for things that turn up and getting stuff sorted. And then I get excited again when it gets to the time of putting them all in boxes and getting them ready to go out and on their way. It's fun times. Anna, she says, speaking of chart to art, she says, are you aware, she says, that on the PDFs for Spookmas, she said the symbols 5200 and 5200 are 5200 AB, she says, are opposite. No, I'm not. She says she's not sure if I'd mentioned it earlier. She says, but she's working on day 5. She says, and she thought she'd made a mistake with the colours she needed. She said she had to check 3 times to be sure. So is it just day 5 or is it all of the canvas? Because maybe I haven't, maybe it's the chart that I was given, or maybe it is an error on my side. If it's one of them, it's more than likely an error on my side. If it's all of them, it may be that a change was made after it was charted and it was changed around which one was which. So yeah, do, if need be, email me with what it is and I'll have another look at the chart and see if I've potentially made an error on one page or if it's an across the board. And yeah, that's always something that I can potentially fix. I just need to know what it is that I'm sort of double checking, because I haven't lived and breathed the canvas creating it the same way Sam does. It's not, and I haven't done it. It's one that Megan wants to do. It's not something I'm as familiar with. But at least it's the one that's only 12 days. If it does end up being every day, that's a bit easier. Lady Dax, she says she's finally got P Jelly sitting beside her again. She said, and she is working on her stitch diamond painting. Let's check them in. She said she lost interest in it last year. She said as it's mainly ABs, and she found them very frustrating. Which can be so true, because the coating comes off and ends up getting attached to other stuff. ABs can sometimes drive me up the wall as well, so I do completely get that. She says, but after seeing an ad for an e-painter, she says, which is basically a suction diamond painting pen, which yes, I have seen those about. They're just not as exciting as some of the other pens that I have. I have been half and half. I've had one in my car and then I've taken it out again. But I can imagine a purely AB project, they would be really, really good. She says she would do stitch again, she said, if they got one. She says, and yay, she says she's enjoying it again. maybe that could be a different type of AB pen. Just use it for ABs. She says she's always interested in seeing craft setups. She says for all sorts of crafts. She says, so yes, she would love to see a video of my quilting supplies, etc. Well, maybe I need to do a mini before and after with my quilting supplies as well. I do have most of it set up, and most of it the way I want it. But I do also have some bits that are not quite perfect, but I don't know if it would be enough different bits to be like worth a video, because most of it is organised. So yeah, maybe I just need to spend probably less than an hour just straightening everything up in there, and then I'll do a video on it and show it you all finished. It's literally just a couple of bits that need, you know, putting in a proper home, because I'm very limited on the amount of space that I have. Not everything is looking great. KS, she says she has a product suggestion. She says cover paper, she says printed with grid lines for squares and printed for rounds. She says that would be super helpful for designing. I will have a look and see whether that is something that we can offer. It may be a little bit tricky getting the sizing exactly right, but I suppose if it doesn't, you know, as long as it's close enough, just because sometimes it prints in a slightly different size to what you see on the screen, if you get what I mean. So yeah, I can definitely have a look and see if that is something that we can do. I don't know how many people use the likes of that for designing, but maybe it'd be a nice way to transfer over some pattern you really like in colour, and you have, you know, a certain design as your cover paper. Another way of making a unique one, so I'll see what I can do over that one. Okay, I'm on number 6. So Kim, she says she's been watching a YouTube channel called Lost in the Pond. She said it's a British fellow, she says, who married an American, she says, and moved to Chicago. She said he makes humorous content comparing differences between British people habits / life experiences and American people's life habit experiences. She says he seems to be spot on, she says, with American quirks. She says, and she really enjoyed discussing the difference between two countries. She says the videos are highly entertaining and informative at the same time. She says, take a peek sometime. I will go and have a look. There can definitely be cultural differences, and I'm sure it's the same in the States, between different states or different areas in the UK. There can definitely be differences. Even the debate of what a bread roll is called can vary by a few miles between one and another. But yeah, it'd be very interesting to sort of hear the take on it. I do love hearing the differences between countries. What drives me batty is when somebody tries to tell another country they're not right, or thinks they're stupid for doing something differently. And that's when I'm like, oh, get a grip with yourself. Get a grip with yourself and realise that things can be different for a reason. Yeah, you see them pop up with comments, and I'm sure a lot of people are doing it literally just to get a rise out of someone. But even when they come on complaining, oh, why do the British not have plugs in their bathrooms, blah blah blah, and it's like, the voltage is different. Like, why, you know, why have you not just Googled this question? And as I say, it's probably to get a response. But yeah, I do love hearing the differences and why there may be differences. And I love it when people accept that there are differences. It's when people get offended that there's differences that it drives me up the wall. But hey ho. Ooh, I actually only have a couple of colours left, I've just realised. Let's see how many. Oh, I still have a few comments, not too many though. We shall see. Arissa, she says hello. She says she didn't think she needed a wedding planner. She says, but now she says that all the big things are ready. She says she wishes that she'd paid someone to do it for her. I get that. I well and truly get that. She says diamond painting mojo, she said, is here to stay, which is awesome. She says another big one, 71 centimetres by 71 centimetres. She says is done and dusted. She says she's also stitching a cross stitch, a heaven and earth design, to be on the reception of the wedding. She says it is 50.92% done. She says she loves my videos. Oh, thank you. She also says that I said her name right, Arissa. She says, but it's with a Spanish pronunciation. Well, I'm glad I got the name spelling right. Actually, having Spanish pronunciation is probably way out of my abilities. I'll be lucky I can pronounce it right. Never mind. With a certain twist, that's where I get stuck. But yeah, I hope everything comes together great for your wedding and you get to enjoy getting your stitching and your diamond painting done in the lead up to it. Sounds like you're going to need it just for that calming stress relief. Stab some diamonds onto a canvas or stab a needle through a canvas just to relieve the pressure a little bit. Sue, she says she would love to see my quilting space. Thank you, Sue. She says, how long have you been quilting? She says, and do you quilt your own? So I have been quilting, I suppose we can say it's since May last year. So less than a year for quilting. The kids asked me what I wanted for my birthday last year, and I asked for quilting lessons. I wanted to be able to do myself one quilt. Of course, as with anything, it never stays that way. So I have done a few quilts. I do quilt my own for a couple of reasons. One, I like to know that I have completed it and in turn completed all of it. And also, if you get it quilted by somebody else, get it long-armed, it can just add up the costs even more. And I've worked out even the cost of sort of fabric from a few that we've done, that we've picked out the specific fabric for and the backing fabric. Just the cost of the fabric alone can get close to 100 quid per quilt, between 70 and 100, and that's just me doing lap size quilts. That's not going bigger. So the costs can really add up, and if you add long arming on top of that. Having said that, there is one quilt that I am doing. It's a quilt kit I got as part of sort of a three days over 3 months, so one Saturday a month, a sort of mini, It's not so much a retreat because it wasn't a stay overnight. It was sew days. That's what it was. I got a kit as part of that, and it has lots and lots of little pieces in it that are fairly easy to do, simple wise, just time consuming. I may get that one done on a long arm, partly because the person who would long arm it is the same person who did the sew days, so I feel as though it's sort of connected, but then it would give me a different quilt finish on the top. I do a couple of different types of quilt finishes, but that would give me an extra special different one. But apart from those 3 sew days that I've been to, yes, I tend to quilt on my own. Quilt on my own and do my own. To me, it's a nice little bit of pottering around the house. I potter between cutting and ironing and maybe doing some washing, and you know, I'm just doing a bit here and a bit there, and before I know it, a quilt's put together. I have 2 currently at the moment, 2 quilt tops that I finished, but I need to make the quilt sandwich and actually start quilting them, which is always more work. It's harder work, but it is rewarding once it's done. Sammy Lou, she says, afternoon Rebecca, she says, from the UK. She says it's another sunny but cold day here. Yes, we definitely have our fair share of those at the moment. It's also been raining this morning. It was throwing it down at one point. I haven't seen what it's like since, even when I've changed my battery and stuff, because this has ended up being a lot longer whip and waffle than what I thought. I daren't leave the room until I'm finished now. I'm so close to finishing. I guess kitting up another painting is going to happen. Whether, I actually don't know. I may have to try and sneak it in next week's videos. I'm not sure if there's something. In fact, there is. Kitting up Floral Surprise might have to be bumped so that you guys can see, you know, that level of excitement of seeing what the decision wheel picks for next Sundays. So I might have to bump Floral Surprise again another week to spread things out. I think it was Floral Surprise I had down for next week. See, that's why even when I have these videos, I only release the next week's. Members, of course, get them early. Everybody else will get them through the week. But it helps me keep track of what videos I may need done. But yeah, looks like the first video I'll be doing tomorrow is a kitting up, ready for next Sunday. She says her childhood best friend, she says, got her into diamond painting. She says, but you made me fall in love with it. Oh, bless. I'm so glad. Sometimes it's the little hints and tips and knowing somebody else that does it and being with them that can just help you get that extra little level out of diamond painting. She says it's a little annoying, she says, as she doesn't get to do it much, which I get. Time and our time being pulled into multiple different directions can be frustrating for most of us, especially when you've got a new and exciting hobby that you want to do. Even more so when you've got something new and exciting. Yeah, when I don't get to quilt for a few weeks, I get a little bit grumpy because I only quilt on weekends. Whereas diamond painting, I may get a couple of days where I can't, but then I'll get one evening where I can do some and it keeps me going. She says, oh, she has a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. Oh, there you go. That's definitely why you don't get to do it as much. Maybe you need to set yourself, you know, well, once they've gone to bed, do your straighten up, your reset, whatever it is you need to do, and give yourself just 15 minutes of it. 15 minutes of it, and then if you want to go sit on the couch and do nothing, or if you want to go bed, then fair dues, but you've got your 15 minutes in. Crafty Hedgehog, she says this is her first time commenting. She says, so hello everyone. Hello to you, Crafty Hedgehog. I hope you are well. She says she's just bought her first Diamond Art Club painting. Welcome to the addiction. It is still rife for pretty much all of us here. That's for sure. She says it's Aragon from the Lord of the Rings, she says, and she can't wait to try it. She says it will be her first high quality licensed art kit. She says though she still has 4 cheaper kits left to do. She says she also has a question. Oh good. It may take us through some of the letter J's because this is very close to the last comment. So let me just switch my numbers over, or my letters over, to the letter J, and we can start filling the last of these holes. But she says her question, she says, what are the clamps on your easel called? She says she would like to get some for herself, but she didn't know what to search. Rhiannon, an easy question. They are called towel clips. So whether you get the same as my other style, which are these, or my fancy flip-flop ones that I got from Kim, there are loads and loads of different types. So many people have other types, but yeah, search for towel clips. I think clipping a towel to a beach bed or something. And yeah, you should find loads of them, and they're very, very reasonably priced as well, which is always a bonus if you can find them. You know, if you find something that's really helpful to you, but it's at a price that is also very, very realistic, it's always good. It's like finding a bargain, even if you're paying full price for it, because of the way they work and how good they are. Aaliyah, she says she is watching my video, she says, whilst eating her dinner. She says, tonight was a cheese and onion pasty with baked beans. That actually sounds rather nice, that's for sure. I'm just doing a refresh of my comments because I think that was it. Yes, I just have Kim's comment left there because I want to be able to search for the person she mentioned on YouTube. So if I can search for the person on YouTube, and then I will react to a comment, but at least I can find that without having to try and find her comment again. But yes, as I'm filming this, I am up to date on comments, which is ideal. I am filming this on a Wednesday, ready for Sunday. So of course comments on my Heaven and Earth design tomorrow night will be able to be read out on my Thursday's video. But yeah, this has ended up being, say, a lot longer than what I thought. I actually came in to start filming only a little bit later than I normally do. And I am very much nearly out of time. So I'm thinking this is potentially going to be up to 2 hours. But I feel like that's best, because Thursday's Whip and Waffle was a lot less than I expected it to be because of all that black. I still had a lot of black on the section after, because the section after is like the full screen's worth. of my pattern plus an extra 3 or 4 rows, I think 3, to get to the edge of the painting. Because it's that full amount plus the bit extra. It was all black on all of that extra, and there was a huge chunk of black in the actual section as well. So it didn't take me too long to do it, but I did get it done last night. I then didn't have any energy to work on Floral Surprise, but I at least got my section of the Heaven and Earth design done, which is something that I've promised myself I'll do to keep things moving. And nearer the end of it, I reckon I'll get excited to get more done, to be able to bring it to a finish. But for now, I'm happy with getting 1 extra section done a week. Okay, trying not to miss any of these letter J's, but I'm also trying to get them done. I'm also trying to get them done fairly quick, because I'm also trying to think of what else that I can chat about. But anyway, yes, if you haven't already been over to the website, do head over. I'm filming this before our mega sale, so I'm not sure what is left. But some things we do have really good numbers of, so I'm hoping that there is still plenty of chance for people to get some really good deals and help us clear out stuff that is not coming back from the shop. So it is all clearance things that are going and going for good. And that will give me definitely some breathing space to be able to start ordering some of the new exciting things, both for Advent and for this year. We have in mind both, and I am beavering away trying to get done the things that I want to bring you the new things for this year. I'm also, of course, beavering away printing trays. And yeah, keeping an eye out for new and exciting different filaments to do, as well as some of the basics. Okay, you know what I said about not being in the mood for something going all over the place today? Well, what went all over the place? That last tub of diamonds. Let me see if I can show you. So I've managed to knock it upside down, can you see? And they have definitely gone all over the floor. There is still some left in the tray that I was going to tip back in, so that's okay. And then I have these here. But on a better note, and what I'm actually going to pay attention to, is the fact that I have finished this painting. So the ones that are on the floor are getting hoovered up later. I am not even going to attempt to pick them up. I'm going to call that my extras. But Mama and Baby Fox are finished. That is so, so pretty. I did think that red was going to be quite stark when I was doing it in close up, and it is stark, but I think in the overall picture it looks really, really good. So yeah, stay tuned for a new kitting up. I also now have another painting to dekit, which, if you saw my craft room tour, I will pop these both on my YouTube shelf, ready to do the video to dekit that one, but it will be a couple of weeks before that comes up, because I think I've got 2 more dekittings that I've actually completed already, one being Paint Gem. Can't remember what the other one was. There's another one as well, another one that I've completed. Anyway, those dekittings will be coming first, but yeah, I get to spin the decision wheel, and we will find out if the decision wheel wants me to do all small by picking the oldest painting in my stash, which I'm pretty sure is a small one, or whether it's going to let me do a large square painting. So stay tuned for that. I will get that filmed, and hopefully I'll be able to get that up next week. So I just need to double check my schedule. But yeah, exciting times. I get to kit up a new one. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all again soon.